What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I'm posting new content. Today we're going to be making another unit. This one is a little bit different from the ones I've been making previously because it's for a client who has a petite head, and so I'm going to have to do a couple more steps to kind of get it to where it fits her head the way that she needs it to be, because the larger wig caps just don't work. And so I'm gonna do a little bit of adjusting to the wig cap, and also we're going to be using a frontal and only 1.5 bundles, which is not very typical for wigs, but this is an older client and she's, like I said, very petite. So and she doesn't like a lot of hair, and it's curly, and so, you know, curly hair has more volume, and so you can get a lot more coverage. I wouldn't recommend it with straight hair, but she actually has a unit that is straight with 1.5 bundles in it, and it looks fine. So yeah, so let's get into the video. And again, thank you for coming back to the channel, and let's do it. All right, you guys, this is the hair that I'll be using. This is a 13x4 frontal. I believe the texture is deep curly, and I'm using 2 bundles of double drawn deep curly as well. If you don't know what double drawn is, it's really top quality hair. Always like to use the best stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so this is the cap that I'm gonna start with. And like I said, my customer is petite, so I have to go and make an adjustment. So you guys see those 2 lines in the middle? I'm gonna go right on the edge of those lines and cut like a triangle, and then I'm gonna sew it back together. That's gonna because her head's like 21 inches, and as you can see that 24 in the back of the canvas. That's what size the head is, or the canvas head is. And so I'm just gonna remove a little bit of that cap so that way I can make the cap a little smaller to fit her head. And so, like I said, I'm gonna cut a triangle out, and then I'm gonna go at that point where it points at. I'm gonna start sewing all the way down to I get to the bottom, and you guys will see what that looks like. And some of it I'm gonna do off camera. Well, not off camera, but off the canvas head, because the more I sew, the tighter it got, and it was gonna start splitting. But eventually I'm gonna change the cap later on in the video, because I realized that that cap, I used this cap before for a wig, and it did not turn out well with the sewing machine. The sewing machine tore it up. So I'm gonna change that cap out for a dome cap a little bit later on in the video. And so what I'm doing right now is just sewing that triangle all the way down from the point, all the way down, well, from the point all the way down to the bottom. And like I said, we're making the cap a little smaller. And so I'll let you guys continue watching, and I'll be back in a second. about to sew down the frontal. I went ahead and pinned it in the front, and I started sewing in the middle of the frontal. It's always easier to do it that way. Go from the middle to the side and the middle to the side, because it adds equal tension. And that way you won't have any lumps and humps in your wig or whatever. So it's very important. I mean, that's the way that I do it. Some people might do it another way, but that's just my preference. And so I'm gonna show you guys how flat, well, I was trying to show you guys how flat it was and how everything was laying, but now we're gonna go into replacing the back of the cap. And I'm glad that I already resized it, so that way I don't have to do the same thing on the dome cap. I just use the same measurements in the back and just replace the back with the dome cap. And you guys are gonna see that. And what I'm doing right now, I'm just pinning the bases together, so that way everything will be kind of like flush. And I use my fist to kind of like to mimic the head or mimic the canvas head. And then I started sewing using the same technique, starting in the middle and going from the sides. And so after this, I'm going to go ahead and lay my foundation for how I'm gonna move around on the machine. Again, we're using like 1.5 bundles. And so I'm gonna lay my lines down starting in the middle. It's easier to line it up that way, and then connect it to the sides. And then we're gonna get on the machine, and then I'll be back. Okay, so now we're gonna get into bleaching the knots. I'm using a 30 volume developer and some bleach from Basic White Clairol. And I'm just gonna mix that together. Try to get a pretty thick consistency so the bleach does not move around once I put it on the lace. You always wanna have the consistency thicker, not thin, because if it's thin, it's gonna bleed through, and then that's how you get hot roots, or that's what we call them in the industry. Get hot roots, and then you'll have to go back and put more color in. But yeah, this is the consistency that I got, or well, I'm gonna show you what it is. See how it's not moving, it's pretty thick. And then I'm just gonna start laying it on the lace a little bit at a time. And then once I saturate the lace, I'm gonna go ahead and add some highlights to the hair while the knots are processing, because we're going for like a warm brown with some like dirty blonde or strawberry blonde highlights. And so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And I'm trying to think what else I'm gonna do after that. And then after that, we're gonna do a bleach wash, which is where you mix the developer and the bleach together, and you add water. But I take an extra step and I add the Shimmer Lights purple shampoo in that concoction as well, to kind of help neutralize some of the brass and to kind of like tone the knots. while it's processing. You guys will see that later on in the video. But I'm trying to think. After we do the bleach wash, then it's gonna change the color, the base color, which is like a dark brown. It's gonna lift it up a little bit, and it's also gonna lift those highlights as well. But you guys continue watching the video, and I will come back in a second. You get that consistency and you're ready to add the water, you'll just add a little bit at a time. Add a little bit first, and then make sure that is completely mixed, and then add the rest of it. It's just easier. And then once you mix it all together, you want to go ahead and drop your wig in there and start at the ends, and then start saturating that hair. At least I use the brush, start saturating that hair from the tips all the way to the roots. And I think I left that wig in there maybe for 10 minutes tops, and it lifted pretty well with the 30 volume and the hot water. And so once I let it sit for a second, I went ahead and grabbed my brush, and I combed it from like root to tip to try to make sure all of the product was on all of the hairs. And I know I'm brushing a little rough, but you know what I'm saying. It just comes with what you're doing. And it just so happens I know what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm just detangling and making sure that bleach wash is going all the way through. Then I'm gonna sit it back in there for a few more minutes. Then I'm gonna rinse it out. And then I'm gonna go back in with my shimmer lights and also some bio silk and shampoo, get all of that bleach and product off of there. And then we're gonna go in with our silicone to, well, we're gonna do 2 shampoos, and then we're gonna do a conditioner, and then we're gonna do the silicone to kind of reseal those, reseal that cuticle, make everything nice and smooth again. And then we're going to go into, well, you guys will get to see the color that it looks when it's wet. And then you'll get to see what it looks like when it's dry. And then we're gonna go into setting the hair. And when we get to that part, I'll be back. So I'm using a lot of body and Wet and Wavy. I forget the name of the company. I need to figure that out. Oh, here it is right here. It's called Wet and Wavy from, oh, it doesn't even have a name on it. Let me see. It says wetandwavy.com. Well, yeah, Wet and Wavy. Wet and Wavy and a lot of body. I mixed that together. I'm gonna go through and like separate the curls and make it look all nice and snazzy, if you will. And this part isn't necessary, but this is just an extra step I like to do. I like for my hair to, for my wigs to look, you know, as beautiful as possible. And especially with curly hair, you don't want it to look dry. So I went through and actually added some layers to this as well. And this is the finished look. And I hope you guys like it. All right, you guys, we are finally done. Thank you for sticking with me through that video. I really appreciate it. If you are new, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you know when I'm posting new content. And for you new wig makers out there, make sure you keep going and never give up on that process, because it can be a process. Just keep going. And if you ever need a reference, just come back to the video, and I'll also be posting some videos here in the future with more pro tips of like all things wigs or whatever. And also I'll be posting on Dexterthestylist.com. I'll be having one-on-one trainings where I can teach you what I know about lace, lace frontal wigs, closure wigs, new part wigs, whatever. I'll try to figure out how I'm gonna present that to you guys, but I definitely want to teach you guys if in person if you need me. And also make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, check out Dexterthestylist.com. And if you're ever in the Atlanta area, that's where I am located. You could definitely book me. Or if you have a friend that needs a new hairstylist and they're in Atlanta, tell them they could book me. Just go to Dexterthestylist.com and you can see all the services that I provide. And I'm trying to think what else I need to say. And if you guys know of any brands that, like, preferably black owned brands that are just starting and they need somebody to do like a review on their hair, or if you have a hair company and you need somebody to do a review on your hair, that'll give you their honest opinion. I'm your guy. I am a licensed cosmetologist and I have been doing hair for over 20 years. No, it doesn't look like it, but I've been doing hair for a long time, and I've been dabbling into wigs probably the last 6 or 7 years. And so I think I might know a little something. I might know a little something. But yeah, y'all check me out on all of those platforms and let me know how you guys feel about this look in the comment section. And if you have any questions for me, definitely put them down there as well. And I think that's it. But I'll be back soon. I think I'm gonna do another wig video. Well, I don't put a time stamp on it because life is a you know what. But I will definitely be back, and thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. And until next time, ciao.